standing alone without a dream in my heart.
So when I went to the radio station, they were happy to have somebody helping also the knew about the languages, because we had a lot of people that called the radio, asking for requests and songs, and they wanted somebody that could talk about the languages. But the captain in charge of the TNI, that was the educational part of Trieste that the American had taken over, wanted to have somebody that would have a program in Italian on the radio. Now they had a girl there. They had a girl that was very, I don't know how to call her, but she would really spy on everybody and tell the officer in charge everything and everybody was doing wrong. So, of course, the boys at the radio station didn't want to have anybody like that because we were like a family in the radio. I mean, they were doing whatever I just, signed off. They were I used to put down, you went to chow, which meant you went to eat, and I could put down any time. We were very independent. Nobody was checking on what they were doing, and we always accommodated. If you didn't want to go now, okay, I'll go now, you go later. I mean, there was no military discipline at all. We were a family. So when they heard about this program that the TNA was going to have, and this girl Elsa was one that was stiff, and she would report on everything that was going on, everything. I mean, she was not very. That's why people didn't like her very much, because of course she was always with the the people up there, and the other people were kind of. They were not very happy, because you like to have a little bit of freedom on your job, especially with radio station. They were very special. They were all very special people. They all had their own. They did that also as a job when they were home. I mean, they were, very outgoing, very. A person on the radio has to be, otherwise they won't have any listeners. So. When they heard that this girl was called Elsa, she died now, so I can even mention her. They didn't want her. Nobody wanted her. I said, what should we do? So one of them said, well, why don't we try Feliciana's, try her voice. They want to have a program in Italian, and she can do it maybe. So they tried my voice. And they found my voice was perfect. Because I had been singing, acting. I had a good voice for theater, And when they told the Southern office, the colonel in charge about this, they said, well, okay, I'll have to listen to her. And he came. And he listened to the piece that I recited, and he said, well, that's true. She has a perfect voice, a lovely voice. So, okay, I guess we won't send Elsa then. You can do it, Feliciana can do it. Because she was not very happy about it, but I got the job as an announcer. But I was not only announcing, he was doing the announcing, the American, and I was doing all the story, all the musician. I was finding out about everything in the library, and then I would really write, because I was also somewhat of a writer, as you can guess from this book. I always like to write. So my presentation was very poetic and also very informative. I told everything about her. So even that's how I became the speaker of the radio station. It wasn't that I looked for the job, it was just given to me, you know. And I was there until they left. And I must say, I was happy to see the Italians, but I was very unhappy to see all my friends go. And they do have a picture here of the
I put it behind you.
Oh, okay, that's they were all my friends. This one, the one on top, is very small. And he was always drunk. And I was going to the, I forgot the name of that, was Dodici Apostoli or something. There was this trattoria in Via Picardi. I was there until a very short time ago, and I think now it's not there anymore. You know, they have changed a lot of things in Via Picardi, because that's where we were, that's where the radio station was. It was, I don't know whether you remember, some of the older people will remember, there was a villetta there in Via Picardi, and that's where the radio station was. It was right across a bar. And down the road there was this Dodici Apostoli where these guys used to go. Sometimes I had to go and take them home because they were so drunk and I couldn't remember. Yeah, and one day especially I remember this sergeant who, it was that one over there on top, that was very much in love with the girl, I guess. She probably didn't care very much, you know. And this wasn't coming back, so I said, well, I better go and look for him. So I said, okay, I'll go down and see if he is in the trattoria. And sure enough, he was there in the trattoria, sitting like that, drunk as anything, and had a big rose that almost touched the ceiling, and he was holding this rose. And he was waiting for this girl who never came. He was a little bit unlucky with girls, but of course he was always drunk. So, you know, it figures. Now, any more questions?
What about your shows? What shows did you do?
I did, well, I worked up all my shows. The guy that worked with me only announced the title. I did the life of famous composers. I looked through all kinds of books, tried to find out about their life, and I wrote, I had a long program because I talked about them, and then we put them on the air, and we had people, even from Germany, called us, congratulating us for this show that we had. Because since as you can see, I like to write poems, my shows were very poetic. I mean, they were, you know, well written. So there was not only the music, but also the poetry that I put behind the music. So it became very, very popular.
And this was Night Watch?
No. This was the morning, Masterworks Concerts. That's what was the title. And it was at 10 o'clock, from 10 to 11. On Saturday, it was from 10 to 10:30. So it was 1 hour every morning, half an hour on Saturday. And it became very, very popular all over Europe. We got letters, I got letters from all over, because it was, they could get it. See? And all the Italians worked, you know, even people that worked maybe in the mines, or I don't know, they were able to listen to this show. So it became a very popular show. And I was pretty well known in Trieste for that, but also known as a singer, because I also sing. And so I was singing in all the American clubs, and of course American songs. I remember I wasn't used to sing in such a dark place, because in Italy when you go to a place where they have music, it's always light, you know. It's always the Americans, they have hardly any light. It was almost it was so dark in there, and you have to watch where you walk so that you don't fall. That was a surprise for me. I guess you knew that, didn't you? Did you ever went to a nightclub in the States?
Well, they don't have really nightclubs anymore. Discos are very dark.
They are very dark.
Yes,
right? Yes. See, so which is very different from here. I don't think Italian places have ever been that dark. Maybe they are now. Maybe if they took that from the Americans, I don't know. But they were so dark. There was one.
What were the names of the clubs?
Oh gosh.
Was there one called the Kit Kat Club?
Yes.
What was that?
Well,
Where was
I
that?
never did sing in that one. That was a little bit promiscuous.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where was that?
Well, it was, I think it was on Filipinas San Lazaro somewhere, yeah. In fact, they always had the police there. Yeah, because there was always something going on, and they always had to call the police. As a matter of fact, before I went to the States, lately, I had, I worked for the consulate, because we were giving visa for not Italians, people coming from Yugoslavia and countries like that, and they were going to the States, but there was somebody coming from here too. And there was a girl that I talked to her, and she was a lovely person, a lovely girl. And you know, she was refused the visa because she had been picked up one night in this club. And she said, I was there and I didn't even know what it was. Somebody told me, well, come with me, you know, where you have fun. And she said, I went there, but she was not a prostitute, and everybody else was. So when they found, there was in her record that she had been picked up in that club, you know, she was refused the visa. Yeah, they didn't let her go. But I tried to help her too, because there was I forgot what the name of it was, but there was a Christian place where you could go, and they too had, Michael Giorno Fathers was there, and they also gave visa for the States.
Oh, Christian Services or something?
Yes.
Christian Relief, Catholic Relief Services.
Something like that. So I told this girl, well, why don't you go up there and talk to them and see what you can do. And I think she managed to go. I think they did something for her, they helped her. Yeah, but she was a lovely girl. But you see what can happen to you? I mean, sometimes you are in the wrong place and got nothing to do with it. The police comes and picks everybody up. And so she was picked up and she was in the books, you know. So.
Well, what about your Hillbilly Hits show?
Oh yes, we had a hillbilly show that was really, we had a hillbilly, we had a person who had a show in the States and was a real actor, he was a real musician. Atwood, Bill Atwood was his name. And he was so kind of hard. I mean, he was putting on, you know. And when I first started going for the radio station, I was really, not afraid of him, but I was shy because he was so rude. But it was all a play. He was just acting. After I found that out, we became the best of friends. And he and his girlfriend, we went out a lot together, and Bill Atwood, yes, he was really, but he had such a, he was acting. And then I found out that he was a real performer in the States. He had a big group of country singers, and he was one of them. He showed me a lot of pictures, and it was a very kind of famous Bill Atwood. So, as I say, you can never tell, with people when you first meet them. It's difficult to know how they are. And of course, my English was more British, because I had lived 3 years in Britain, and these people were talking more American, and Bill Atwood was probably he was a country singer, and he talked just the way he sang. So, but I had a lovely time with it.
What time was Hillbilly Hits on? When was that on the radio?
It was at 5 o'clock, I think, in the afternoon, I think, yes.
Every day?
Every day, yes. And then he would make fun sometimes. Fun or some other music. And I remember somebody was going up there's somebody going, why don't you get the jerk off the air? Because some people, of course, didn't like him. There was a little bit of antagonism between the Hillbilly shows in the afternoon and, of course, the night watch, which was all Blue Moon and all songs that were more. So it was. I had a very nice time, and I was very unhappy to see them go.
Well, what were your hours? What time did you start in the morning?
I tell you, I really had no hours, because once I started working, then I was there almost all day. Because they were going. They called going to chow. Going to chow means going to eat. And so we would put up on the blackboard there, they had a board and say, go to chow, so you knew where they were. But the people that were on night watch were very different from the people that were on Hillbilly shows. I mean, the personality was very different. They were more, and also they were probably more professional, because they were civilians and they had always done the job. They were real people that worked on radios all their life, Now these boys were just, they were just doing their time. So it was a little bit different. But I ended up being there almost all day long,
So how many years were you there?
5.
5 years.
5 years, yes. And of course, I had a pianist who would tape the shows. Any song that I liked, he would tape it, and then he would write it for me, and I would perform it, because I became also a performer. I sang in many places, all over Trieste, especially Officina. Officina was, I sang for the Americans nightclubs, but then in Officina I sang all along, I really, because there was not, it was not a military place, it was a place, but it was a place where all the people from Officina, all the guys that had they were stationed in Officina, came because it was closer for them. I remember there was one that really liked the song Blue Moon. And the waitress actually, already knew when he came in And said, oh, you know, the guy, which one? Quel del limon. Because Blue Moon, she thought it sounded to her like lemon, you know. No, he said, he asked for you to sing something with lemons. He said, with lemon, lemon, lemon. And it was Blue Moon. Because as soon as he came in the door, he looked at me, hey, Blue Moon. So I knew I had to sing that song for him, which is a beautiful song.
Well, where were the places in Opicina? At the Obelisco?
Not very far from the Obelisco.
Oh.
But you know, they've been there for ages, and now they have problems. They become a very, very small bar or something. It has changed a lot. Until not too long ago, they were there. Yeah. And a lot of the Americans that were stationed in Officina came to that place at night.
Like Bane, they would come from Bane and all those.
Oh yes, yes, and they would come there. Mm-hmm. Of course, they also came downtown to the club that they had downtown. There was one, and of course it's not there anymore because they did away with all that part of the one near the hospital there, you know, the hospital. I mean, they had one that was very close to that. And that's where I sang a lot. That's where I met also a woman who was Mary Dietrichs. Mary Dietrichs, she was an agent, you know, a theatrical agent. And after she met me, she used to go on kind of tours with these Americans in a truck, like. I said, why don't you come along and you help me? So I got all kinds of jobs. Everybody was looking for me because I could translate. So I went with her too, and she was a theatrical agent, and she got me a lot of jobs, a lot of jobs. And after a while, I had to do her job too, because she had developed cancer, and she had, she became swollen and swollen until she could not speak anymore. But she still kept the job. And so that's when I always went with her. For her job, she would take me along, and she paid me. I didn't want her to pay me because I felt she'd been very good to me. And, no, she said, dear, nobody, I am an agent and I know that. She said, nobody works for nothing. So she insisted in paying me. So I was a very busy person. And she got me a lot of jobs outside of Trieste too, Grado, a lot of Grado, places around Grado. They had nightclubs and.
So you didn't sleep for 5 years? Because if you're at the radio all day long and singing in the clubs all night long,
that's right.
You must have been exhausted.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I was.
And you had a little boy.
Yes, well, of course my mother kept the boy, you know. I lived with my mother, and so she, yes. He was a little mad at me sometimes because he wanted to come too, you know, but I cannot take you because you would have really been. But yes, I was very busy. And I also, I was able to put the songs that I wanted to sing, I was able to put the song on the record, and my pianist used to tape it. No, because there was no music for it. So he used to tape it, he wrote the music, and there I sang the song, you know. I did a lot of serious music, because it's the one that I like the best, but I did a lot of hillbilly songs, a lot of them, because there were some places where there were all hillbilly people, and they wanted the hillbilly songs, you know. Sometimes on the radio itself, people would call in, and people who didn't like the hillbilly song, would you tell the jerk to shut up, you know? Yeah.
But would Italians also call in, or only
Then,
Americans?
no, the Italian, well, the Italians called in when I started Masterworks concerts because I was speaking Italian. And Italians from Germany called a lot. People who work in Germany, because this radio station was so powerful that you could get it that far.
Was it like Voice of America? Or, oh, okay.
Something like that, yeah.
Or it was Allied Radio, and Trieste they would do Hillbilly hits, and maybe Berlin would do another show.
American radio station. Our title was American radio station, yes. And then, of course, we had different shows.
Mhm. But you had programming from other places as well. Like you would program things that they did in Germany?
No. It was just Trieste.
Okay.
Trieste news and American news.
And it was 24-hour radio?
Oh yes, it was. It was only. In fact, the people they used to call in the afternoon were what you would call hillbilly people, and they used to swear at the people that listened to the night watch because they didn't like that kind of music. All they liked was a hillbilly music. So we had, we had some people called in and said, you tell the jerk to shut up,
What was the RAI 24 hours also? The RAI radio, was it 24 hours?
See, I really wouldn't know. I really didn't have much to do with RAI at all, it was all American. No, I didn't. Actually, but I sang on RAI just a couple of times because they were looking for singers, and I went there and I tried and funny thing is that I thought they said me okay, and said yeah, it sounds pretty good. They said okay, we'll let you know or something like that. So I went away, but I didn't know that I was supposed to come back. I thought there was only once, one time that you went there, but it was not so. That was the first time, then they had another time, and so on, until they found the one they wanted. That they kept listening to all it was like I think they do that now, don't they? Yeah, when they have the Sanremo, for instance, they have all the singers, and then gradually they discard some, and some have to come back. Now, I was supposed to come back, and I didn't know that because it wasn't clear to me, so I never did go back.
Did you see any of the big bands, the American big bands?
Did I see?
Yes. Or did you see Louis Armstrong, or?
I don't know, because I wasn't that knowledgeable about the real big bands in America. All I knew was what was going on here, No, I don't know whether they came or not.
I know Louis Armstrong came, and he was at the Rossetti.
Oh, was he?
And it wasn't a great success because the tickets were too expensive. And even the Americans didn't have money to go to the theater to see him.
I see.
So it wasn't full.
But he didn't come to the radio station.
I don't know. He was at the Rossetti.
No, I don't remember anybody really very famous that came to the American radio station. They probably wouldn't because they wouldn't pay them, those people want to get money.
Did you have a live band also at the radio station? Did they do live radio music? Or just records?
Really. Not really. We had some singers occasionally that would come and sing, but there was not, we had interviews. Of course, I took part of those because I was the translator, And I remember we had a black guy that came once, and he was a very good singer apparently. And we talked to him and all that, but times were, were very different then. Yeah.
So your show also went to Yugoslavia. So
Oh,
the
yes.
Italians in Yugoslavia would listen as well.
Yes, yes. My
Or
show
in
covered.
Zona B.
Yeah, he came to covered Yugoslavia too. He was very powerful, very, very powerful radio. Yeah. This is a radio station for the armed forces, American Armed Forces in Trieste. Yeah. And then, of course, I really missed it when they left. And I was without a job for a while, not too long, but I had to work for less money and jobs that were not as pleasant as that.
And then in Vicenza, were you also with the radio?
No, because in Vicenza for a while I did not have a radio. I didn't have a radio station. I was in Verona. Verona. And no, there was no radio station there. No, because if there had been, I would have tried to get a job there, you know. No, it was a completely different job. Completely different. There I was a translator, an interpreter. And I was always going out with officers, different places, to be an interpreter, and especially with the mayor and all, you know, these people in politics. And then the officer in charge of the TNA, the one who did all these kind of things, decided that he wanted to give me the job of translating of Napoleon's life. And so he said, you know, in your spare time, I didn't have much spare time, because I was working a lot there. Because I was always on call, you know, because nobody knew English. So everybody they had to go to, and they had a lot to do with the local offices, local government. And so I was always interpreting for these people. So he told me, you know, in your spare time, he said, I'd like to know something about Napoleon. I said, why don't you translate this book for me? And I did it. And I translated the whole book. So I learned a little bit about Napoleon anyway. But no, it was not like the radio station. The radio station really was probably the best job I've ever had. Because we were a real family. As I say, this Bill Atwood, that was a real performer, had a real, he showed me pictures and things. I really was kind of scared of him when I first started working. Pat, what are you doing here? And he was all acting, you know, and I didn't know that. I thought he was really like that, so I was very, I wasn't used to somebody. You know, see what time it is? Sometimes I was a little late because sometimes I had to take my little boy to the asilo, you know. So I was really busy, I tell you. And he was just play acting. And I said, well, you know, but I was here longer last night. I worked there almost an hour after my time. I said, you know. Did you? I didn't know that, no. And then I realized that he was just acting, you know, and we became the best of friends. He had a girlfriend, although he was married in the States, but he always asked me to go out with them. He said, well, you want to stay home every night, why don't you come with us? And so I did go with him every so often, yeah.
Did you see him in the States when you moved to the States?
Did I sing in the States?
When did you ever see him there? In the
Oh,
United States?
no. Well, it was a completely different area, I lived in Washington. But I did a lot of things in Washington too. I had a show on radio.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Italian.
Oh.
Yes. I had a show on radio, and also I had also shows for American soldiers. Because, it's funny, but once they call you once, and then you go, they always called me. I thought I always had to find out, when again. Every time they had some high, important person or something was going on, the American Officers Club, the wives, they always would invite me, but once they get a name, it seems, and then they call you all the time. So I had a lot of jobs, and I also have little articles at home. I hope I can find, because for some reason, after my husband died, I had a lot of those things disappearing. I don't know what he did with them. But yes, I was Feliciana di Trieste, I called myself.
In the States?
In the States.
And who was this radio show? Was it with...
It was with some Americans and some...
But what station
some
was it on?
Italians.
Was it on the local radio station?
Yes, it was a local
Like
radio
the Washington, D.C.?
Washington, D.C.
An Italian show in
Italian
Washington,
show.
D.C.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, I did a lot of that. Because for some reason the American wanted to hear the Italian songs,
So those were the big Sanremo years. You would do the...
Oh.
What kind of music did you play?
Oh, I played music that I liked, because I accompany myself on the guitar.
Oh.
Yes. So, I learned how to play the guitar, and I accompany myself. And I had a lot of jobs. Yeah. Apart from the day jobs that I worked in an office. I worked for Professor Tamagna, who was working also for Rome here, the Rome the government. It was, how do you say, what will come to me now, but he was, a person who keeps track of all the bills,
An accountant.
Accountant, but a little more important than that. He was a professor at the university, and that's where I worked, and that's why also I got a degree from.
Oh.
Yeah.
A degree in?
Liberal arts.
Okay. How old were you when you got the degree?
Oh, just before we came back.
Oh, so like you were 60?
No, we came back long before that.
Okay.
We've been here 34 years, Yeah. After my husband went in pension, we came back, and we stayed here. As a matter of fact, he was wondering whether we should go back, and then he realized that it would be hard for me, because I was supposed to go and live in Villa Rosa, which is really out of town. I could have done it, but there is nothing there. And I know, because I went to sing for these people many times. Every time they had, when Gronchi came, every time they had a big party, and they always called me, and I was always sang on, but I accompanied myself with the guitar. Yeah, so I met a lot of Italian politicians too. And it's a nice place, because it is a more countryside, like it's outside Washington. But at the time when I was there, and now they have a metro, and you can go anywhere almost. But then it was difficult to buses are not very. Can you imagine? I waited for a bus. My husband and I, we sat on the pavement in Aqua Circus, and we waited for the bus for 2.5 hours, sitting on the pavement because we had not taken the car. Buses are not very common. No, everybody has a car. So it was really, yeah. So my husband thought about that too. He thought, well, it would be difficult. She doesn't drive. I couldn't drive, but after I had Sergio, he said, no, he didn't want me to drive anymore. He was afraid that, you know. Also, it was very good, I must say, but that's all right. So it was very difficult. I think now, as I say, maybe better, you know. But to go to the university, I had to go maybe 40 minutes riding the bus to get there. And, you know, and I was taking all my baggage because I needed all the stuff to paint and to go in the bus. And I don't know whether I would do all these things again, but I guess in those days I felt strong enough to do it. Yeah, because I really wanted to do it, you know. Yeah, I really liked it. That's when I was in the class when we heard that, let's see, it was Kennedy, no, the one before, the black guy first.
Martin Luther King.
Yeah, because he died and also when Kennedy died. Yeah. The professor came in and he said, you know, killed Martin Luther King. And, you know, because they were all white there, but he was already getting in, Martin Luther King, because with all these speeches and all that, he was becoming quite famous, and a lot of people, you know, people liked him, also white. But I did sing for black churches too, because I went everywhere. And you know, they came and got me in the car. And then when I was there, after I sang, I thought, well, now I said I better go home because it's getting late. And the chaplain or whatever you call it said, no, sir, you have to wait for me. He said, I'll take you. And I said, well, why not? I said, the bus stopped right here. No, he said, it's very dangerous for a white person to be here at night. I said, I wouldn't want anything to happen to you. And he took me. So, it is strange. I went everywhere. You know, I didn't care where. I like people, all kind of people. And I feel people are all the same. And we all should appreciate one another. But in those days, there were difficulties. Yeah. And in fact, I think it was right then, when I went home, that somebody told me, oh, Martin Luther King was killed. Yeah. And then, of course, Kennedy. I was there when the funeral. And,
Oh, you were in Washington, so.
oh, yeah, I was in Washington.
Yeah.
Did we cry? My husband and myself both cried so much. It was everybody laughed in the people. It was really sad. No, there were difficult times because Martin Luther King was killed the year before, wasn't it? Yeah, so, and then Kennedy. Yeah, every so often I think I really should write my memories, you know, and insert all these things before I lose my mind, because it's, I think it would be interesting to find out, you know, from somebody who was there. Yeah, we were all shocked when Martin Luther King died, because we were in the class, I was in the class. And just shortly after. Okay. Yeah, there were very difficult times. Very difficult times. Yeah. But I did a lot of things that I enjoyed in the States. And now it will be even better because now they have the metro that goes all over Washington. And before, when I was there, it was very difficult. Because if my husband didn't take me, I had to wait for the bus. You can wait, it's the same. We waited 2.5 hours for the bus sitting on the pavement. Yeah? No, I think it has changed a lot.
And Trieste?
Hey, Trieste! I think Trieste has changed too. Because with the Americans, Trieste was blooming, you know, there were all the nightclubs, everything was open until late at night. People, there was a lot of life. Now it's nothing. And also because I think very few people would want to invest in Trieste, because still Trieste is, we don't know what's going to happen to Trieste, do we? So, you know, we need the Americans to come here again. That would be nice. Yeah. As old as I am, I think I would get a job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Mrs. Johnson is in our documentary that we're showing at the Sala Trikovic. It's called I nostri giorni americani, Our American Days.
Oh.
And she talks about her radio days, and she might even sing she might sing Limon or Blue Moon. I don't know, it depends.
That's what he calls it. He calls
Yes.
it limon.
She might sing Blue Moon, she's practicing. So if you come, it will be very big. We have the whole Sala Trikovic. It's 930 seats, and it's first come, first serve. We're going to reserve a few seats for the 20 people that were interviewed and their families, and for some of our volunteers. But there will be like 830 seats free. So please feel free to come. We hope you enjoy it. And next week we'll be here with the documentary Blue Jeans e Gome Corte. And the week after, Le Ragazze di Trieste. And what else is going on this week? Let's see. Next week, on Tuesday, nothing. We do our usual teen club on Friday. Thursday, documentary. Friday, teen club. The week after, Tuesday, we're doing a short story written by maybe even one of these guys. His name was George Garrett, and he was an American who was based in Trieste, and he became the
all the guys?
No, I'm not. I haven't seen his picture. He became the poet laureate of the state of Virginia, and he went on to go to Princeton University.
Oh.
And by special request, we're doing an evening show of the bridges of Madison County, because some of our older women requested that movie. It's, if you haven't ever seen it, it's with Clint Eastwood and Meryl Streep, and she is an Italian woman who married a soldier in World War II and ended up in Iowa, I believe. Right.
But, and always it's started at 8?
At 8 o'clock, yeah.
Could you start just a little bit earlier?
We'll see. Maybe.
Because, you know, the bus stops at 10 o'clock, and I don't really want to walk up all the way.
Well, you could watch it here even. You come in and we can put it on for you.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay.
One day when you're here.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Okay.
Because I don't mind, I don't mind walking, but the problem is
Yeah.
it's getting
Dark.
darker and darker,
Yes.
and there are fewer people in the street. Because I walk a lot, and I can walk all the way up to Greta from here. I can. But if it is after 10:30, I'm getting a little bit, you know.
Okay. Any questions for Mrs. Johnson?
sang some of our hillbilly songs.
Well, which ones do you know? Do you know Hey Good Looking, What You Got Cooking?
Well, all I know is the beginning. You know.
Me too.
Yeah, I am. There are some country songs that are not exactly hillbilly, you know, but are nice because there is a difference, you know. The country songs are a little more, what should I say, just a little more refined, I suppose. And the hillbilly song are really hillbilly. Like in the States, they just say, "Oh, you're a real hillbilly," you know. Yeah, and sometimes people, the hillbilly people and night watch people, they used to fight on the radio. I mean, one used to call them something, and the people in night watch used to call them something else, you know.
Okay. Well, thank you.